And we need to get past the fear of starting and sharing something, because there's so much wealth of knowledge and style and ideas and everything within everybody who's in this room right now. And if you hold back, what good is it going to do? And like people say, if you touch one person, you've touched one person. And that's all you need to do.
So we are live now, and yeah, great. So hi, Merrily, welcome.
Hi,
Finally,
Yana. There we
hi.
do. People are finding us good.
Yeah, yes, yes. So we are here with Merrily Pangman, and today we are talking about fiction and how to monetize fiction. Um, Hi, Merrily, welcome. I'm so happy to have you in this spotlight today. Um, right. So for people who maybe meet you for the first time, can you share maybe with few words uh, uh, about you and
Okay, I'll
what do
try
you
to give
do?
the abbreviated version. I think somebody said it like I've reinvented myself maybe 7 times, but I don't know. But the things that are meaningful are that I worked in nonprofit organizations for about 20 years, and up to the executive level. But I always wanted my own business, and you look for a niche, and you can't find one, or you don't know how to find one. And finally, when we had moved from New York State to Arizona, and I was gardening, I started gardening in pots, and
Yeah.
needed to get out of the nonprofit world, and I was tired of begging for money. And like I said, I wanted my own business. And so the idea came to do container gardens for homes and businesses.
Yeah.
And long story short, I grew the business. At the largest time, I had 12 employees. We had over 1,000 homes that we were working with. And then 15 years later, I sold that business. And because some of my colleagues had said, Mary Lee, you need to help others do what you've done. So at that point, then I became a business coach, and I kept all of the publishing rights and education rights and consultation rights of the gardening
Yeah.
business. So I still have that flowing out there, content and education wise. And so, a business coach. And then I had published 2 books for the container gardens in the desert. And, um, and finally was coming to a point when a lot of my colleagues and friends were retiring. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I can't retire because I'm going to get bored. And so I kept working and doing things and part-time coaching and this and that, and of course educating on the desert gardens. Um and then after I published my second gardening book, which was creative nonfiction, a friend who's a cozy mystery author said to me, Mary Lee, you could write fiction. I'm like, really? I could do that? And she's like, of course, you need to try. And so I did, and because the parts of the creative nonfiction book that I enjoyed was the fiction, was creating the stories. So I actually, in trying it, I started imagining these stories that were centered around the same people that were in my gardening book, because I
Yeah.
fell in love with them.
Yeah.
And so I had started writing, but then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this? And how am I going to show my writing, my stories to the world? And I don't even remember how I stumbled on Substack, but I did. And I think that was about 2 years ago. I should know that because people celebrate anniversaries on Substack, but I don't remember. Um, and so what happened was I had created these stories about 5 women who, is it okay if I move into this, Yana? I kind of rocketed.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was about to ask you, how did you come to Substack? But of course. So,
Yeah. So it's about 5 women who are come together in a canyon of, let's say, the desert Southwest, and it is near future. It's 2060, and and they range between 55 and 75, and they are trying to figure out what is their next. And this was really coming from me because I'd gone through, when we moved to Hawaii for several years, I had to reinvent myself then because I still needed really to have an income. And I sat there and was like, what am I supposed to do? I was an unknown entity, and it wasn't quite up to where everybody was doing things so much online. And so it was a challenge. And so I started telling my stories from that point of view. And so the five women, they all are different ages. They have different experience. They are all very strong, women who want to do more with their life. They don't want to retire either. And so, but what happened was when I started sharing, I serialized the first book, which is Whispers of Echo Canyon, which released today on Amazon. Um, that women started responding and saying to me that they saw themselves in the stories, and that it answered a question for them, or that they first they appreciated having women 55 and up being featured, being the protagonists, the main
Yeah.
characters in these stories. And I realized that I wasn't just writing fiction. I wasn't just writing stories, that I have a responsibility. And I have a responsibility to women like myself who want to see this, and also who can take some of these stories and wrap it into their own lives, or compare it to their own life and say, wait, if Riley can do this in this story, why can't I think about doing something myself? And so that was very energizing.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, well, let's, you're loving what you're doing and people are resonating with it. So let's keep going. And in Substack, I was started serializing the first book, and then I started hearing about this thing called notes. And somewhere, you know how you keep going in Substack and you're meeting people, and I met you, Yana, and you had the notes challenge, and I was like, that's fabulous. And I really enjoy writing notes. I like posting notes, but there's days when you just don't feel like it. But
Yeah.
when you're in a challenge like yours, where you're really being held accountable by virtue of a spreadsheet, but still
Yeah.
you want to enter that. I want to enter that spreadsheet every day and say, yes, I did it. And so it just was very helpful because not only was it holding me accountable within myself to make sure I posted notes, but also that there's a community. And so with the community, it helped to boost the notes and get the word out there. And through your um, challenge, and then I pay attention to other post creators who are sponsoring boosts and really work it so that I can do that. But if I hadn't been introduced to it through your program and also through your post program, um, I need to work on that more. But the notes, like, yes.
No.
And actually, I was publishing a daily dose of fiction, which are really short stories. I have a theme each week, and I was using that through notes too. And then that just got to be too much to try to do all of this writing, and then to start to get ready to launch the first book. And so I had to cut that out for now. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like everything wrapped into a nutshell of where I've come from. And so now I'm still teaching some gardening classes, and I actually monetized my garden publication on Substack just
Yeah.
because I was tired of doing it for free for 30 years. And I get new subscribers. It's only $30 a year, but I'm getting now new subscribers, like several a week, paid subscribers. And I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, exactly. Wait,
working.
wait, I just got $30. And so that's like, very passive income. I have to publish my stuff, which I have 30 years of it. I'm repurposing it all. I'm not creating anything really new. And because plants grow, you plant them, they grow, you take care of them, they grow.
Yeah.
Um, so I can concentrate on the fiction, but I have some income coming in from the other side
Of
hustle there.
course. Yes. 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 Also, how do you can you share how notes work for you? What types of notes? How
Well, you know, the
because
first big
you
one
had
that I
viral
had,
notes. Yeah, you had some
yeah,
viral notes. Yeah, and
and the
I know that it helps you really grow your audience.
yeah,
And I see some people interested in the chat about this, so maybe that would
yeah.
be something cool. Yeah.
The very first one was one of those where you kind of tell your in staccato form, just not bulleted, but just line by line by line, where you tell what's happening for you. So I had start with that I'm 73, and that what I've done and published. I'm writing this. I forget exactly what I said, but that one I think it was over. I think it got up to 1,600 likes, and I'd say maybe about 10% in comments, but there are also restacks. And the point on that one was that continued for at least a month. That growth continued for at least a
Mm,
month, which is to me amazing. And
it
so now with the launch of the book, that the notes that I've been writing about, I come back to I'm 73, because I think that people need to see people my age and around my age who are doing more, who are doing something and building. And so I know I had one that was still the same kind of thing. I'm launching up this book at 73, and this is what it's about. And they're kind of medium length in my mind. They're probably around um I'll say 60 to 80 words, somewhere in there.
yeah.
And this one, it was so kind of funny to me, but
Yeah.
it went over, I think it was somewhere between 650 and 800 likes and
Yeah.
almost 200 comments. And I make sure that I respond with more than a thank you as much as possible, but to every single person who comments. But what I also do is I go and I look at their profile before I comment, and I go over and look at their about page. And that's why you see me posting a lot about people not having an about page, because I'm like, hey, this is the first place people will go to look. Get your about page done. And of course, I say it nicely, but um, and so it takes time. And so here you have now another responsibility when you are successful, even if it's 200 likes and 20 comments, that you need to go back and have a conversation, at least reply to them and how much you appreciate it, but also say something about what they're doing by looking at their profile. So it all takes time. And I wanted to go and send a private message to everyone who commented, but it got too big. Didn't have the time to do that and do all the other things that I'm trying to do to launch the book. But so it's the engagement of the notes that really really helps, and it's those personal ones. People want to see what you're doing, what you're struggling with. I mean, this morning I wrote one. I don't have to say what it is, but I was
Yeah.
not in a good mood when I woke up this morning, which was kind of silly. But I shared it. I'm just like, this is where I am. People have been seeing me post for the last 10 days about this book
Mhm.
and the picture of the book and the link for the book. And I'm like, okay, just tell them how it is this morning. It's not
Mhm.
what is it, wine and roses?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all have our moments. So, but that's kind of what's been working, and I'm excited to explore and pay more attention to my potential different styles of notes that I want to write, and which ones gain the most traction. Um, and then to make sure that I'm going back, and the people who are really resonating with me, that I'm connecting with them from their Substack also. That I'm
Yeah.
just not, it's not all about on my page, but I'm going out to them. And that's another thing I need to be better at, to get to them and say, look at their post, find one that I resonate
Mhm.
with, or their notes, and make sure I'm commenting and restacking and all of the good things that we need to do to engage.
Yes, engaging on posts also is really important, not only on notes. It's working really well for me as well, but also direct messaging as well. I think I'm not using this enough. And we discussed this, I think, in our previous
We
conversation.
did.
I haven't done anything, but 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 yeah, that is also so I recently got a conversation with another person from the community. It's Natasha,
Hmm.
and and she said that she's using direct messages really well, and it's working for her growth. Mostly for monetization, for converting, and also selling her products and services. So yeah, there is
Huh.
new things to new ways to explore on Substack, I guess.
Yeah, and
Um,
there's one fellow I follow that's not on Substack, but he is a very huge proponent of direct messaging. He's on LinkedIn, and
yeah,
and very very much so saying direct messaging, and I think that it's something we're not utilizing enough at all. And I keep wondering when you have all these people who you get an email that they followed you and
yeah,
you don't have their email, so you can't contact them. So the only way
no,
you can do it is to direct message them, and then they have to see it because you're not a friend. So therefore,
yeah.
you know, you're not connected. Yeah, so I haven't really tested that out, but I still wonder about are we losing the followers potential because we don't have a direct way of reaching out except for direct messaging.
Except for direct messages, yes, yes. Yeah, I see some people who are using this approach on Substack really well. It's the approach of social media, and to be honest, I never, never ever liked that. And I've seen very few people who I think it was just one out of all the direct messages that I'm getting personally um, and professionally from my 9 to 5 on LinkedIn, for example. Um, I think 99.9% of them are just simply not boring, but interrupting me and then annoying me. Actually, I don't really want to engage, but there was just one message which was really really good, and it was so it depends basically what you write to the very person. If you make it genuine and show some interest and to do like take some time and actually take a look at their profile. And start a honest and meaningful conversation,
Hmm.
then chances are that you could really create a very good connection. And even if it doesn't turn into some kind of a business partnership or a transaction, which is mostly the core the core the only goal of direct messaging on social media, the fact that you are creating such kind of a connection can be beneficial in the future for both of you. So
Right, right.
it's a great
Well,
way to put.
back in the day, I come from a whole different era, and it was with the one-on-one networking that you did from a networking event, and finding strategic partners. And
Mm,
so it's the same kind of thing, but it's all done online, and which actually is a time saver because you don't have to go anywhere to meet somebody and have
uh,
coffee and that. But it's the online networking. So um
yeah,
yeah, and you have to think about what's in it for them, not just what you want
exactly.
out of the interchange. So
Exactly. It's always about that, I think. It's
yeah,
always about that. So Sal now here is saying in the comments that Substack isn't optimized as you described merrily, with the ability to get follower email, but it's I suppose it is intentional. Otherwise, some may turn that ability into an email spamming campaign. And yeah, I absolutely agree. So we are supposed to not get emails from followers, I think.
right.
Um, yeah. So yeah, but actually I don't know for you, but for me, I think about 60% of my followers are also subscribers right now,
Wow.
and it's just how it is from the very beginning, and this percentage is roughly stable ever since.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
So if
that's
it,
one thing. Now that you
yeah,
bring up subscribers, in the last 10 days, I and they're um free, of course, but I've gotten 52 new subscribers and I have around 835 right now. So getting 52 out of what I've been doing around the launch of the book, um,
Yeah.
to me, that's tremendous. And they're direct. They're not coming from, the referral sources though, because those mostly seem to come through now as followers. Is that true?
Yes.
When they come through another publication. But so these are people who've seen me and my notes, especially, and are coming
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
So,
So they
and
choose whether to stay as followers or become your subscribers. So it's
yeah,
basically the choice they make. Right. So what about your book? So today is a big day.
it
And
is a big day.
today is a big
Yeah.
day.
And so, I had a lot of plans for how to launch the book. And like I said, I'd had two other books before. And I just couldn't do everything. So I knew that it would be a slower growth as far as purchasers. And it's on Amazon, both Kindle and print. And so
Yep.
it was released this morning or last night for some, depending what time zone you're in. And I
Yeah.
had 32 pre-orders for Kindle and
Oh,
pleased with that. Yeah, that was
great.
great. And I'm hoping, that it just continues to grow. And what I didn't mention about the book is that it is the first, there's 5 women in it. My plan is that each woman will be featured in a new book. And so there, I have a plan for 5. So I consider that like, I didn't want to do this huge launch that was totally exhausting. So I couldn't start writing right again. And I've been chomping at the bit to start my second book. And so I've already turned that corner. And so it's more of a calm launch rather than this really hyped up kind of. I didn't have a launch party or any of these, but I'm happy with the results so far, and I'm happy with the feedback I'm seeing on Substack. Um,
Yeah.
one of my friends said that most of her people who bought the book were not from Substack, and you don't really have a way of knowing unless they tell you. But I believe that I would say 80% of the 32 are from Substack, and
Oh,
to me
great.
that would be
Awesome.
great. That would be great.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm kind of a person who once I get something done, I move on.
Yeah.
I don't sit back there. And so that's kind of what I feel like I've, in a way, done. And I know I
Yeah.
have to keep up on getting, somebody wrote me just a little bit ago and said, I hope you're going to market what out of this so that people can find you. And, I'll do everything I can, but, I'll keep talking about the next one too. So
Yeah, yeah. So Mark is asking maybe a few questions from the chat. So Mark is asking how easy it is to publish on that platform. I am not
suddenly
sure on which platform. Yeah, because it's on Amazon, right?
Amazon, yeah, and I'm going to, because people have asked, they don't want to buy from Amazon, and so after this week, I'll get it to. Well, I'm thinking of a couple ways. I know there's different ways to do it so that people can buy it elsewhere, and I'm actually thinking of taking a PDF and putting it available through maybe not Gumroad, but through BitSlip, and because they pay out better than Gumroad does. I have some other things on Gumroad.
Yeah.
And so just to get it out so that people who don't want to use Amazon have that option. And so as far as what I don't know what Mark's question was. He was,
I don't know. Probably
so
Mark, please share if it is. Are you asking about Amazon or for Substack actually? Um, yeah, hopefully this is something. But yes, then Desiree says, I like the idea of a series. You are our Lucinda Riley.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I have to make some decisions around this whole serialization, because I have the whole thing of whispers out there, but then when I went into the next phase of edit, or the first big phase of editing, it changed remarkably. It increased by 33%. And I did not want to use my time to go back into Substack and change every single chapter when I was really moving forward to publishing. And so what I've done is I've just put now three updated chapters up there so that people can get a taste, and then they can move into getting paid subscribers can move into getting the full chapters as I draft them of the second book, which is called Mirage of Trust. And
Awesome.
and so the somebody had written, oh, that was from Desiree. Thank you, Desiree.
Good.
The chat on my phone is very, very tiny. But so
Yeah.
I
No
think
worries.
it's
I can read them for you. It's okay. So some is asking, what was the Gumroad alternative again?
yeah, I think it's called Bit Slips. I think that's the name of it. I don't have it right in front of me, but somebody else had recommended that, and it has the percentage. Gumroad takes 10%, plus there's cost for each sale.
Yeah.
And so it can get up to around 13.5%, I think. Whereas BitSlip, I think it ends up, depending what level you buy into, or if you go free, I think it was definitely under 5%. I think it's closer to 3.5%
Yeah.
cost to
Okay.
you, because they really feel, the way they put it out there is that you own your stuff, you own everything, and so they're just taking their costs. Where they make their money, I'm not quite sure, but I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, awesome. So Mark is saying that he is asking about how user-friendly is the platform for inputting the story, and also formats, because he keeps reaching format barriers. So he's asking about images and artwork, but I'm still not sure if he's asking about
Yes, which platform, Mark?
which platform. Is it about Substack or Amazon that you're asking? Um, Right. Um, so it's live today. Yeah. So we
Yes, it's live today. Whispers of Echo Canyon. I don't know if I can go and grab the link
I added
right
the
now.
link
Oh, good.
to
Thank you.
I added the link to your post, which says on sale now. I think inside of it there are the links to the Amazon page.
Yeah,
Um,
and the right now the Kindle version is on sale for $2.99, and that'll only be this week, and then I'll go up to $5.99. So
mhm.
if you want it that way, and when people are publishing books, and if you are all interested and can spend that amount of money, it helps us, because the first few days of publication, and the release, are the ones that really boost how much Amazon is going to put it out to the world. And if
Yes,
you get to a bestseller status or any of these kinds of things. And so if you're at all interested, it's $3. And also the link in that post is the international. So if you're not in the US, it should take you to your Amazon.
yeah.
Hopefully that's how it works.
Yes, hopefully. Okay, so Mark says he's asking about Substack, and right now he's using Google Docs, and he says that he is willing to sacrifice profit for public awareness of the story.
Great.
Um,
Great.
yeah,
And Mark, maybe we need to have a sidebar on this, because I really didn't have a problem, but I copied and pasted into Substack. I did not try to upload it. I don't think there's even a way to upload, but,
yeah,
and I do most of my 90% of my work I do on my phone, and, I'm not on the computer and the big screen very much at all. So if I can do it from my phone, I'm happy. Except now on my tablet, and I go into Safari for Substack to do anything of consequence, and it keeps freezing. So I don't know but that could be an Apple problem.
probably, probably.
Probably. But anyhow, all right.
All right.
So,
Uh, what's
so
new? What's okay? So you just launched the book. Now what?
Okay. So now what I'm doing is like I said, I'm started the second book, and my I don't, so many people on Substack, because of the nature of their business, they're trying to find the problem their readers and followers have and make a solution for it. And, I've been a business coach. I've planted gardens. I know that side of business. But in the fiction world, it's very different. If you don't want to create a product, and I've been very, very resistant to creating a product. So where I am right now in that vein is that my free subscribers will get the first three chapters of the new book as I write them. So they're drafts, they're not finals.
Yeah.
And then they'll get excerpts. They'll get a section of a story. They won't get the whole thing. And then I also write about, there's a lot that goes into the stories about the women and their inner thoughts, and why I made the decision I did about somebody, and these kinds of things. And so I call that life's threads, that they're reflections that are coming out of the stories to share about what else is going on, what's going on in my head, which is a scary thing. And then, but what's happening for them that's relatable to your life as a reader. And so the free subscribers get a lot of that, but it's only a piece. And then what I talk about is what I call the paid is story insiders, where I'm inviting you inside. And I've started seeing more and more people using that phraseology. But let me tell a very, very quick story. When I
Yeah.
was a business coach, a lot of my clients were restaurateurs. They were either chef owners of a restaurant, or they owned the restaurant but hired the chef. And it was a wonderful, wonderful place to be, because you get invited inside. You get into the kitchen. You're asked to sample meals. You're there for a soft opening, and it made me feel very special, even though they were paying me for what I did. Had nothing to do with their food, but they would invite me, and I always treasured that time. And so that's kind of the environment I'm trying to create for my paid subscribers, where they get to come inside and almost like sitting with me, but not for me to show them what I'm doing, but just talk about life.
Yeah.
Us over 55, what life is like, and what are the characters going through, and how that's related to them, and how all of this kind of wraps together. And so that's not as you can't really touch that as much as a program or a course,
Yeah.
or something like that. And so I want to, when you look for information on how to do something more with fiction, more
Yeah.
than just sharing your fiction and selling your books, there's not much out there at all. And the people have been highly successful. They really are dealing from volumes of people. They're not dealing with 835 subscribers.
True.
They've got tens of thousands. And so it's a whole different world for us who are really just starting out. And also, I'll say, for us who are in our later life, and our energy is different, and how we guard our lives and our time and what we choose to do is different. And so I forgot where I was going with that thought. See, that's
Well,
what happens, right? Well, okay. So what I want to do is I want to do some tracking to see what works for me. What do I need to do to get more paid subscribers? What do I need to do in my notes to get more traction? How do I increase? You have to be careful. Do you want more subscribers, or do you want to work with those you have? How much energy do you want to put on that growth versus paid growth, which is really be nice because it supports what we're trying to do, because there's, of course, a cost to publishing.
yeah.
And so I want to track where success comes from, and how is it, and what am I doing in my material, in my content repurposing, in order to grow my world of my body of work, let's say, and then have it come back with some kind of financial support. And so I'm making myself and my work into a case study, and to see what I can do. And then if that is as successful as I expect it to be because I have people like Yana in my back pocket helping. Um, that I do have an idea that just came to me. What day is today? Tuesday? Yeah,
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Less than 7 days ago, this idea came to me because I was looking for other ideas from other fiction writers and I wasn't finding it. And so
Mm.
often, I'm going to sidetrack just for a second, that we need to remember what it was like for us in any kind of work we do when we first started.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there who are taking people who are up here in their process and going beyond. And they're forgetting about the people who are just starting out. And I know from what people have said to me in comments in my notes and my posts that they're just starting, that they want to do this. Somebody said the other day, I have 7 books that are started, but none are published. I've never published. And or I have all these things in my head, maybe a memoir, um, or a fiction that I want to do something, and they're usually people like me, my age. And so that makes me think I was a business coach. An entrepreneur at heart. I love business. So of course I want to try to help people do something that they really want to do. And I totally believe that they can. And so I came up with, I don't know what it would look like as far as, if it's an ebook or I'm calling it a heavy ebook, where to help them, not that I tell them how to do it, but I help them see what they can try and do within their time, energy, resources, and all that in order to make progress. And so I have to open it because I never can remember everything. The kind of thing that I'm thinking of, the working title is filling the Substack gap for fiction writers and really aiming at the 55 plus. I lean more towards women, but of course men can use it too. But because I just think that they really are looking for just what Mark was saying, that I really would like to have my work out there. And how do I do that? And so first I need to validate the idea.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I know. I also think there are very few, if any, people on Substack helping fiction writers to actually approach this as a business and make it successful.
Right. Yeah, I don't know of any. I know that there's many people who are helping people with books and they feel that their nonfiction strategies can carry
Yeah.
over. And I agree with that to a point, but fiction is a different world because fiction is a choice. If somebody wants to build a business, finding out what their niche is and what the problem they're solving and how they're creating a solution to sell, that's very finite. You can do that. But in fiction, it's very, very different. And if you don't have an audience of 10,000, on a Substack Kindle book at $2.99, I'm lucky if I make $1. So if my
Yeah.
costs were $1,000 to publish this book,
Yeah.
then that's a lot of Kindles right there.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It's exactly like that. And I also know people who have huge audiences and still struggle to monetize with their fiction. It's just because it's a completely different world, and it's very difficult to apply the problem solution type of framework, which is working for nonfiction and pretty much any type of business, to the fiction world,
Right.
where it's a lot about, as you said, it's a choice, and it's a lot about emotions and
Mhm.
experiences and stories. Um, you know,
And I think part of it is listening to what your readers are saying to you, and because that's really what made me. It's almost like, well, okay. I was talking with Claude and ChatGPT,
yeah,
and my ChatGPT is Nero's, and I was talking to them, and one of them said to me, "Of your 835 people, subscribers, free, how many are fiction readers, and how many are people who want to publish fiction?" And Neros felt that it's probably only 10 to 15% who want to write fiction. I
mm,
disagree. Now, I don't have any data, but I disagree. I think it's much more than that because I think there's probably an author in just about everybody. That there's a desire there,
I love that.
and maybe they don't know it. You know, I didn't know it. I didn't ever think I was going to write fiction.
Yeah.
Um, and but you know, when they see somebody doing it, this, but I have all these ideas that I've never even thought about for stories. Or
Yeah.
I have somebody was saying it was historical fiction. They have all of this two generations of information that they've gathered, and now what do I do with it? You
Yeah.
know, and so yeah, I think there's much more out there, especially on Substack, because writers come to Substack.
Yeah. Yeah. No, amazing. So exciting times come to your Substack.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm hoping this year that this could happen. If I find that it can be substantiated, then I will do it, but I will do it in the easiest way possible and the way
Yeah.
that consumers can do it, can handle it without having to do a year-long course because at our age we don't want to wait a year. We want to do
Yeah.
it now. At least I do. I'm gonna figure it out. Start now.
Yeah. Yes, action. You always
Action.
need
Yes.
action in order to move forward. It always works. No, no, not thinking, not planning, not
Right.
learning. It's just action.
Right.
That's
And that's a thing, you know, and I've known this a long time and I'm happy to
yeah,
see other experts saying it, but you don't need to build it before you put it out there. You get a group of people, you sell it to
yeah,
them, and
yeah.
you write it as you share it. And that's the way I would go with it to get
Awesome.
it out there. And then after that, you know, you've got your people who help you change it up and to um, to create it for more and to use it as testimonials. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm hoping I get excited about a lot of things, but I think this one might be
Yeah.
one of the best one ideas that I've come up with in the last
I'm
10
also
years.
excited to see how this grows and how this develops. Also your experiments and how you turn this into an actual business on Substack. I'm
Yeah.
really curious and excited to be part of this. Actually, I feel honored
Yes.
to be part of this as well. Thank you so much for this. Amazing because you know what? Because I'm really confident. I'm pretty confident that you can make this work because you have that business, a mindset and you know how to do business. And when you do that, when you have that experience and when you have been successful in the past, which you have, then the whole job that you have to do is just simply to get everything that you know and your experience and apply it to something new,
Right.
which in most of the cases, even if you fail a little bit once, twice, you're still confident that you will
Uh-huh.
find a way. And in most of the cases, you do. So I'm really excited to see how this goes for you with with your publication, and I can't wait to see it happening. All right.
Thank you.
So guys, if you're interested in making your fiction a business, a profitable business, please subscribe to Merrily because not now would be the time so that you can watch this live how she's doing it with her fiction business and yeah, and they went to see how
Yeah, and
this goes.
if I could just add to that, that people that subscribe, and especially paid subscribers, that you all are going to have a responsibility yourselves because I don't know everything that you know, and so when somebody says, "Well, you know, that wouldn't work for me because of ABC," and or well, how do I do this if I have no money to put towards it, or
Mhm.
you know, different kinds of things. And so I need that kind of feedback because I am very much a believer of experiential learning, and we all bring our experiences into any situation. And so I'm going to be talking to my subscribers about their, especially the paid, about their responsibility as a paid subscriber because they're going to get more out of it if they put something into it. So,
I love that. I'm stealing it actually. So I want to talk to you about your responsibility as a paid subscriber.
uh
It's a very good framing,
Ca-
actually.
I
It's
came up
true.
with that last night.
It's amazing. I love it. I love it. So yes, if you want to make it, so the fact that you are paying for something, it doesn't grant your success. So you have to
Right.
actually do the work and
Yeah.
get into the
Yep.
game.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, wrapping up, is there anything that you want to share with our viewers today? So we have some a bit more than 50 people already.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
Oh,
I don't know. I think, and I said before, I'm an optimist, and I really, really am. And I'm not afraid of failure, and I don't have writer's block. And, um, I just feel like we just have to keep trying and go. And what you see on Substack all over, people post things like, no one ever succeeded if they didn't take the first step. And that's the whole thing. And, so often, myself included, we can have this huge idea, this huge plan, and but it's too big. And we have to break it down into what is the very, very first thing I can do,
yeah,
and without tripping over myself, without getting crazy. I know lots of times I'm just like, oh my God, I can't handle all this. It's too much. And I have to come back, and journaling helps. Journaling helps to kind of figure out, well, what can I do today? What's the one little thing? And it'll leave you with one of my favorite stories. There's a woman, 20-foot ceilings in her house, and the light bulb is out. And she's
mm,
like, she puts on her list, I need to change the light bulb. Well, she doesn't have a 20-foot ladder. She doesn't know what kind of light bulb it is. And so that's not even the first step. The first step is really, she needs to find out what kind of light bulb. Well, she doesn't have a ladder. Oh, her neighbor has a ladder. All right. So the first step is call her neighbor to see if he would come over. Sorry, sexist. If that person would come over and bring the ladder, and then she could find out if what the bulb is. So her
yeah,
neighbor comes, she makes a call, her neighbor comes over with a ladder and says, why don't I go up there for you and check what light bulb it is? And it goes up, checks it out, says, okay, I'm going over to the hardware store. Why don't I pick up the bulbs for you? I'll leave the ladder here and I'll be right back, and I'll change the light bulb. So that one little phone call made the bulb get changed. She didn't have to do it. But the whole issue is we have these huge things that we want to do. Break it down to what is the very first step, and think about, I need to change a light bulb.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's all about, it's very simple if you think about it. It's all about the baby steps, because
Mhm.
the road feels as you walk, through
Yes,
it, as you start walking or start driving, much like as if you're in a car, where you want to go, but everything that you see in front of you is just you few steps ahead, and
yep,
that's it.
yep.
So that's what you have
That's,
to
and
do.
I'll give them one more of my favorites is, if people who are afraid of putting something out there, making their first post, making their first chapter, or making their first sale. No one that I know of has ever died when someone said, no, I'm not interested, or no, I didn't like that. It has not killed anyone. It can hurt. It can hurt like crazy. But
Yeah.
what's the worst that could happen? It'll hurt. You get over it, you try again. You ask them, why didn't you like it? Why is this not going to work for you? And talk to them, because they've had the same experience you have. You
Yeah.
could say, it's really hard to hear that, but I do hear you, and I'd really like to know more of what you think. And we need to get past the fear of starting and sharing something, because there's so much wealth of knowledge and style and ideas and everything within everybody who's in this room right now. And if you hold back, what good is it going to do? And like people say, if you touch one person, you've touched one person. And that's all you need to do.
You already making a change, and it
Yeah.
can be a huge change for the
Right.
world.
Right.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Marilyn. It was
Thank you,
great
Yana.
conversation. I really enjoyed that, and hopefully the people here with us also find it helpful. And yeah, looking forward
Good.
to
Me
be
too.
part of this space project. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Yana. Thanks for doing this today. And thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Bye. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.